All right, man. Welcome back to another episode of Subtopic. I am your host, Subtopic, and today we're gonna be reviewing some footage here. If you're like me, perhaps you have friends or family members or both who say, that the current narrative about what happened to Charlie Kirk and a 30-06 is that it completely demolishes this watermelon and that it is impossible for him to have been shot with a 30-06 because apparently when you shoot this watermelon here or when this watermelon is shot, that it is completely obliterated and that the current narrative doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense despite the fact that the young shooter, according to what we've heard, confessed. His dad turned him in, and there's a whole other mountains of evidence, according to what they have, that this indeed was the case. Let's review the footage real quick here. This is a watermelon about to get obliterated, apparently. Let's take a look.
I like watermelon.
And I'm no fire expert or firearms expert. I don't know what a 30-06 is. I don't know what this rifle even is, if that is a 30-06, but looks impressive to me. Looks like, from what I've read, mostly used in deer or moose hunting. Very powerful weapon. Bolt action for the most part, from what I've looked at. The bullet is impressive and the gun is very loud compared to a 22, which is what I have. You see this scope here, and the guy's got some kind of sling on that. Again, I don't know if bullet grain varies, you know, from bullet to bullet in regards to 30-06. If there's subsonic or if there isn't, if there's hollow point or there isn't. I haven't taken the time to do research on that. But apparently, this gun here is OP, as the younger generation say. So let's take a look here.
It's fun to shoot at. I'm gonna shoot it with a 30-06 if I can hit it. Holy Jesus.
So according to the narration, according to logic, 30-06, if you were as a human to get shot by this, according to logic or the argument that I've heard, is that this would be the result. The last time I checked, watermelon is a fruit, and it is not a human. Unless I missed the memo, or there was some kind of sit-down meeting where decisions were made unanimously, and people decided that a watermelon is now classified or identifies as a human. Well, then I must have missed that memo. Or perhaps even worse, that I didn't get it. And maybe the case is also vice versa, that maybe humans could identify as a fruit, in this case a watermelon. And of course, if that is the case and we follow logic, well, then this would be the result, right? But this is completely and utterly ridiculous, right? Obviously, we're not watermelons, right? We obviously have a lot more mass, and the conversion of energy transfer is way different from a watermelon to a human, that is to say the least. This is particularly sad that you would, or I would at least, have to go in here and explain this again if I missed the memo. And there was a meeting that was cast where people, who run the world said that watermelons are now humans. Perhaps I must have missed that that memo. And please, the comments, let me know. Send me something because perhaps I may have missed it. I won't show any footage of the same kind of rifle being shot at a deer because it is rather graphic in nature. But as you would suspect, that a deer does get shot in the video that I did see, and you could perhaps do the same research. The video that I saw was one where a deer gets shot in the neck also. And the results, at least what happened here, is not what happens at all. For the most part, the deer kept its head. If anything, what looked worse was the exit wound as opposed to the entrance wound, which is boggling, right? But it makes sense. The energy transfer, of course, would be one where, pinpoint entering the body, or in that case, carcass of a deer. And the exit wound would obviously do more damage because it is pushing more energy through, and there's more things to push out. So, obviously this makes sense. So, obviously we can't compare, right? A deer either isn't a human, but we're a little bit closer, right? To perhaps what it is that it is. I want to go over here to X. And we had an update by Andrew. I believe his name is Clavin. Producer. I think, was it Andrew Clavin or Andrew Sinclair? I can't remember who it was. I know it's of the Charlie Kirk show. I believe the guy's name is Andrew. Andrew Kovic. Provided some updates today. And here's the tweet, or the post. This is Andrew Kovic, the producer of the Charlie Kirk show, friend. I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize. This is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with a surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital, and he said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal. For a high-powered, high-velocity round, I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent. And he replied, "It was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed." The doctor replied this. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. In the end, coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable and miraculous. I'll tell you what sucks is that people are grieving this situation, and for whatever reason, there's people who have all these kind of conspiracies, and so now these are just nutcases that are living in an alternate reality from the world. We go by the same logic that, Charlie Kirk is indeed alive, and I follow your reasoning because apparently, for some odd reason, that's just fake deaths and nothing is real, then at that point I also could say that JFK wasn't assassinated, and neither was Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, all these other presidents and figures, Tupac, Elvis, none of them were unalived. Such is not the case. To say such things, we live in reality. Reality is that Charlie Kirk was killed for his views. The man willing to dialogue and have conversation with people, the only man probably who would listen to your views, empathize with your unique situations, and he got killed for it. Not only did he get killed, people celebrated that killing as well, which is disturbing in its own. Disturbing even furthermore, that an entertainer, jester on late night show could get fired or suspended, and people would lose their minds over that. Call it an injustice, but not this. It tells you a lot about people. And this is all just, appreciate it for what it is. Usually, who surrounds you. Some of these people are not right in the head, man. And that's okay. They need help. And that's all I got to say about this. Please, just let the people mourn. This happened. It's done. Enough with the conspiracies. Let's have this thing. Let's let this go. Let's let this play out. And that's all I got to say, man. Peace. I'm out.